Welcome. Happy Monday morning. Happy All Saints Day and Halloween and Samhain and all the things. Find yourself seated on the mat. You can sit on a chair if you prefer, as always. Find your sit bones under you, and we're going to take a few breaths to just center ourselves and ground ourselves into this time. Congratulations on taking time for yourself. Give yourself a gratitude moment. And then just find your sit bones, and you might just go ahead and close your eyes. And we always start with just noticing. So noticing that we are here in this room, and that we have chosen to come to class and be on our mat with ourselves today for a period of time. And just bringing your awareness back into your own body. Sometimes our awareness strays pretty far. And you don't need to change anything at the moment. Just start noticing your body and what kind of energy you have today. Start noticing your breath. Notice if you're comfortably seated on both sit bones, and if you feel relatively stacked over the sit bones, your spine elongated, tall through the top of the head. Does this come easily for you, or is this a struggle? You can use props if you need, under the sit bones, under the gluteals, under the legs. Folded blankets work well, Mexican blankets work well. And then we'll take 4 deep breaths down into the belly, with each breath trying to lengthen the breath deeper, bringing the belly more and more full of air, pulling the breath even down towards the sit bones. Inhaling in through the nose, allowing the belly to be soft and rise with the breath. And as you exhale, you can sigh if you need to expel some stress or anxiety, or you can just slowly allow the air to leave the body. And then when you're ready, inhaling deeply again through the nose, following the path of air down into the belly, really into the lungs, but you feel the belly rise with the breath. And again, sighing it out or slowing down the exhale. As you slow down the exhale, notice that you're able to relax the body. Settle into that resting, digesting, healing state of the parasympathetic system. Inhaling again deeply, filling the lungs with fresh air, life-giving breath. And exhaling fully whenever you're ready, slowing it down even more, the exhale. Last big inhale. And let it all go. Good. Hopefully you're feeling arrived here in your body. Go ahead and open your eyes, and we are going to start on our mat, laying down on our backs today. So make your way to your back. And the first thing we'll do today is wake up our core, because we of course use our core through most of the class, but sometimes it helps to wake it up on a Monday morning before I say pull in your core through the rest of the class. You'll say, what are you talking about? So we'll do this first. And before we ever do any core work at all, I always have you find a neutral spine. So tilting the tailbone down into the mat. And if you're stiff, you might feel a little stretch of the low back as you do this, and that's okay. And tilting the pubic bone up to flatten the back. Tailbone down, moving through the range of motion of the lumbar spine. Do that a few times, especially if you feel tight first thing this morning. If you've been up for 5 hours, I apologize, but I've only been up for 3, so I'm still tight. And then when you find your middle, we call that neutral. You should have a little bit of space under the back. And in that position, you should have no pain of the low back. It should feel comfortable and open. And then draw the belly button down towards the spine. If you need help drawing the belly in, you can inhale fully first, and then exhale, make a shushing sound as you draw the belly button in towards the spine, tightening and shrinking the waist. Hold that position and take 2 or 3 breaths into the belly using the diaphragm as you hold that position. So just holding the tightness of the transverse abdominis and then inhaling into the diaphragm. Good. As you exhale, pull a little more of the belly button in. Nice. Inhaling again. If you need help, you can put your hand, like I have mine, over my belly button. Draw the breath towards your hand as you keep your lower tummy tight. And then exhale, fully drawing the belly button down a little bit more, never smashing the back. We still have our neutral spine. And one more breath. Good. In therapeutic yoga, this is called the TATD breath, which doesn't matter, but it's a really healing breath that you can use throughout the day, keeping the transverse abdominis pulled in and then using the diaphragm. It innervates and energizes a lot of different parts of the body. Now we're going to go into our little bit of challenge. So either marching, this is sort of level 1, marching the legs up and down, keeping the belly pulled in tight and making sure that throughout the whole motion of the legs, you're not rocking the spine. So you're maintaining that neutral. If that feels easy, you can come up and then reach down and draw the belly button in as you pull the knee back, reaching out and down with the leg and then pulling the belly button in tighter. We're going to go for about a minute or so. So you can do either of these, or if you want more challenge, you can of course unweight your legs and do reaching out from there. So choosing whatever one feels right for you today, and whichever one you're able to keep your spine still and stable using these core muscles. Another test is, can you breathe? So if you're holding your breath and turning purple, which patients do to me all the time, that's not useful. So whatever you can do, maintaining neutral spine and also breathing. Good. Check in with your shoulders, especially if you have chosen unweighted to do for a bit like I'm doing. Relax the shoulders as best you can into the mat. Relax the jaw, relax the throat, relax the chest. Good. Go ahead and pull the knees, no matter what one you're doing, in towards the chest. Pulling behind the thighs, and you can just rock out around and around the sacrum. Back and forth, around the other direction. Release any tension that developed. That shouldn't hurt your low back. If you're having low back pain doing that, tighten the belly and back off to an easier level. All right, so lower the legs down again. We're all going to do one together, which will work the core and also the quad. So we're going to have our neutral spine. Find it again if you need it. Draw the belly button in. You should feel, if you've put your fingers right inside your hip bones, you should feel tightness down there in your muscles. And then we're going to lift one leg up. We're going to reach it out straight. And we're going to do 5 leg lifts down all the way, almost touching the floor. Tighten the quad and lift up so that the knees are at the same level. All the way down, not losing that neutral spine. So if you put your hands on your hip bones, they should not be moving up and down. And breathing, inhale up, slowly exhaling down. Not touching the floor, lifting up, using that quad, slowly lowering down. When you've done 5 on one side, we'll switch legs and we'll come back to this leg to do 5 more later. You can replace that leg, reach the other one out, lower slowly, keeping the quad contracted, kind of a tightness above the knee, and lifting up so the knees meet. Down with the exhale and up with the inhale. Good. Make sure you're still keeping tension in that lower belly. And check in again with those shoulders and jaw and throat. And once you've done about 5, you can switch. We'll just do 5 more on each side. Nice and tight in the tummy, neutral spine. See if you can inhale up, exhale down, keeping the belly button pulled in the whole time. If that breathing feels weird to you, you can switch it. I like to use the inhale to lift, imagining that the air makes it easier for you to elevate the leg, which I think it does. You can email me and tell me if you think it does. Switch legs when you've done 5. Good. All right, nice work. We're going to come back to a hook lying position and we'll do a couple more core work exercises. So find your neutral again if you need to. Pull that belly button in tight and we're gonna lift both legs up if you can without losing neutral. If that hurts your back at all or if you lose neutral, just lift one leg up. If you can, lift both legs up, hold them there, reach your arms up overhead, pointing towards the ceiling. And we're going to do the opening and closing. So we're going to open our knees and our fingertips apart from each other a little bit, as far as you feel like you can. And draw your belly button in as you exhale, pull everything back to center. Inhale it out. Only go as far as you kind of get shaky at the edge of almost losing your neutral spine and draw it back. You might have a tiny, tiny motion, or you might have a big motion, just depends. Everything is perfect. Inhaling out, exhale, pull the belly button back in, one more only. Inhale, opening out, exhale, pull the belly back in. Good, beautiful. Okay, keep the legs there if you wanna do obliques with your legs unweighted. So if you wanna do obliques, twisting the legs doing this, otherwise you can bring them down to the floor. We're going to do our obliques, which is the twisting motion, putting the hands behind the head, supporting the neck, let the throat kind of stay in an open position so you're not smashing it. And we're going to inhale and then exhale, twist the left shoulder up towards the right hip. Just a little twist, pulling the belly button in and then inhale down. Exhale, twist left shoulder towards, no, right shoulder towards left hip and down. So you can do it with your feet on the ground if you want. That sometimes actually isolates the obliques better, or you can do it up, twisting and reaching the leg for a little bit of a challenge. Inhaling down, exhaling as you shorten the obliques coming across. And you really just need to peel the shoulder blade up. You don't have to go with giant, giant motion. Make sure you're supporting but not pulling on that neck and head. We're just going to do a few more on each side. If you can, 3 more. Stay with your breathing. Inhaling down. Last one, exhaling up. Inhaling down, exhaling up. When you're finished, place the feet again on the mat if they're not there already. Stretch the legs down long. Reach up overhead, take a big yawn, and reach overhead, stretching out the belly. Reach the arms up, up, up. Point the toes down, down, down. And release the arms and legs. Nice work. All right, we are going to do about 10 bridges with single leg challenge, and then we will move on to our all fours position. So hook lying with the feet hip distance apart. Make sure they're hip distance and knee distance. You don't want your knees touching and you don't want them way out wide while you do this. You want to maintain them right in line with those hip bones. Nice flat feet, grounded through the feet. And we're going to just squeeze the buns together, tighten them, squeeze the butt cheeks, and lift straight up on an inhale. Once you get to the top for the first one, you might just hold there as you exhale. Inhale again, feeling the belly rise. Squeeze the glutes, don't strain the back. Exhale fully. Inhale again, and then slowly start coming down on the next exhale. So the first one or two, you might want to just come up, do some breathing, squeeze the glutes, make sure you're not straining the back. When you're down again, squeeze the glutes completely. Inhale, lift. After you've done a couple, we can do the single leg challenge. So whenever you're ready for that, but I really recommend you start with just squeezing the glutes, because it's easy if you're not doing that squeeze to strain your low back. And if you're challenging single leg, it's just even easier to forget what you're doing. Slowly lower down when you're ready. All the way down. When you get to the bottom, release completely. So the sacrum lets go, the glutes let go, and then you squeeze again and lift with the inhale. Now you can try the single leg challenge if you want, unweighting the right leg, just unweighting it or sticking it out straight, making only the left glute keep you level. The trick is, and then replace and do the right side when you're ready. The trick with single leg challenging is, are you using the glutes? So no strain in the back. And if I put a cup on your belly, is it toppling? So you want to keep your hips level as you hold that. And when you start, it might be like a really quick little whoop, very quick, short challenge. And every little bit builds strength. So start where you're at, love your body where you're at, be thankful, and just little bits at a time, building strength. Good. Challenging. Again, whenever you're ready. If you don't want to single leg challenge, that is totally okay. You can just come up and down a few more times. Fully releasing every time at the bottom before you squeeze again and lift. We'll work on our last one here. Holding your single leg challenge or your lift as long as you want. See how much control you can have as you lower down slowly. Good. All right, widen your feet wider than the mat and put your arms way out, stretched like a T. Put your hands facing palm up. And we're going to rotate side to side. Knees go one way, go as far as you want. And then the other way. And back. So just working back and forth, however fast or slow you want. I recommend slow. Letting the knees come all the way down to the floor if you have that range of motion in the hips. Breathing as you move, just feeling the good feeling of moving the spine and the hips, opening the chest. Good, last one. All right, come back to center. We're going to come onto our hands and knees. We're going to do not the side lying hip series today because we're going to do some standing up stuff with the wall as our support as needed, or a chair if you have one nearby. So come onto your hands and knees. And first, we're just going to move through cat-cow 3 times with your breath. So make sure that your arms are stacked so that you're not way up front like this. Your hands are under your elbows and shoulders. And then make sure your knees are, again, hip distance apart. And then just take a deep breath. And as you exhale, pull the belly up and pull yourself into cat. So belly pulls up, tailbone curls under, head lets go towards the ground. You can let the top of the head just hang and then push a little extra with the hands so that the shoulder blade space is widened. So that space between the shoulder blades, the spine is lifting up towards the sky, belly button pulling up. And when you're ready, release. Let the belly sag, let the tailbone lift toward the ceiling. Shoulder blades come back, opening up the chest and heart space, and lift the throat, extending the neck if that feels good. And then reverse. Pulling the belly up. When you get into cat position, tailbone curled under, head lets go. Take a deep breath this time. Inhale. Filling the ribs, stretching those ribs out, pushing into the mat strongly. And when you're ready, release. Let the tummy sag. Let the tailbone rise, shoulder blades back and down, away from the ears with the shoulders. Open heart, open throat. Good. One more. Moving with your own breath, whatever feels good. If you have very tight scalenes on the front of your neck, when you look up, it might feel really tight on the front of the throat and neck. That's actually really important to stretch that out gently and with love, but forward heads and a lot of stress really increase the scalene hold, and I see a lot of people having a lot of problem with that. So this is a good way actually to stretch that out. There's also an easy way in seated, but all right, come back to the middle and we're going to wag our tails. So wagging our tails to the right and looking towards the right hip a little bit, stretching out that left side. We're just gonna do 2 on each side, then wagging the tail to the left and looking toward the left hip, kind of allowing the shoulders to curve a little bit. Now to the right, wagging your tail, stretching out that quadratus lumborum area in the low back, and to the left, making yourself a little C. Beautiful. Okay, hopefully your hands aren't too tired. If they're getting tired in the wrists, you can come into a fisted sort of gorilla pose for a little bit. We're going to do our alternating arms and legs reaching. So to do this, pull that belly button up now towards the spine, tightening transverse abdominis like we just worked. If I put a cup of water now on your low back, it will not spill. Make sure you're strong through the shoulders, pushing away, not collapsing in those shoulders. And we're gonna slide the right leg out and the left arm up. Thumb always up towards the ceiling. Lift, 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 in line with your body, squeezing the glute, trying not to twist. Take a breath there. Full inhale, full exhale. Inhale again, and as you exhale, slowly start coming down. Good. Find yourself again in all fours and make sure your tummy's tight. Left leg, right arm lifting without twisting as much as you can. Squeeze the glute, find your balance. Thumb up, reaching fingertips away from toe, long through the spine. Take a full inhale, exhale there. Inhale again, and as you exhale, lower slowly. So trying to move with the breath, inhaling as you lift. I'm gonna do 5 more of these on each side. You can move with your own breath. Finding balance at the top, stabilization through that standing arm and hip, slowly down on your exhale. Inhale up. Very nice, keep going. So you can stay up as long as you want. I recommend at least one full breath cycle, moving slower than you usually do. In this class, we kind of channel the sloth, move slowly with our breath. It's important to have something to remind us to slow down. When you're standing on one arm, it's super important to keep pushing away so that you don't get impingement in that shoulder. And your face should always just be looking towards the mat on this one. So the top of the head is going opposite of the toe and the tailbone, keeping the spine long and lengthened. Check in again with your belly button. Is it pulled up, stabilizing and supporting your back? And we'll finish up here with one more. Nice. All right, my friends, come into child's pose or prayer pose. Sitting your butt back on your heels, let your knees come wide, let your belly really come between the knees. Stretch the arms forward if you can on this one. Reaching as you let your head rest, your forehead come down to the mat. Reach a little more, walk your hands up so that you're getting a little extra stretch in that upper back. Take a deep breath there, and then we're gonna walk our fingertips to the right a little bit, lengthening out the left side. You might have to move your forehead, but then replace it to the mat. Just walk over until you feel a beautiful stretch on the left side. Take a breath there. Let go, let the earth underneath you hold you. Send a little bit of love to the earth, our mother. Walk your fingers to the left. Find a good stretch on the right side, sinking the heels and the butt towards each other a little more. Big breath, stretch out that right side. As you exhale, see if you can release, let your forehead fall a little more. Feel the grounding effect. And see if you can just let go of your need to control. Surrender a little bit in this moment. Allow the opening of the side, and then walk back to center. One more breath here. Good. And we'll come back up onto our all four position, hands and knees. And then we're going to do the challenge of tucking the toes under, getting ready to come up into downward facing dog. We're going to do the downward facing dog prep twice. So tuck the toes under in the all four position. Find length from the top of the head away from the tailbone. And then we're going to really super strong push into the hands, feeling those shoulders, create more space using all the muscles around the shoulders and arms. And then inhale, lift the knees straight up off of the mat. Lots of pressure through the hands, pushing away, nice strong hands. Holding up for a couple breaths. You can shift forward and back a tiny bit if that feels good. Keeping those knees up, tummies tight. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly put them back down. Give your shoulders a rest a second if you need. Shake, shake, shake. And then reset yourself. And lift with the inhale up. Knees up a couple inches off the mat. Again, holding that position, or you can shift forward and back, working over the arms a little bit. when you're ready, slowly down. Nice. All right, put your hands forward. We're gonna come all the way up into downward facing dog. If your wrists are tired, give them a little twist around or stretch them, maybe real gently putting them palms up like I'm doing into extension. And then when they're ready, in front of you a bit, about a foot in front of where they were, nice and wide. Toes tucked under, and we're gonna inhale up, tailbone lifting toward the sky. Keep those knees bent as much as you need to. Focus on the spine first. As always, we find length, tailbone away from top of head. Let the head rest between the cubital fossa, so between the elbow space below the biceps. Take a deep breath, lift the tailbone a little more up. Let the knees bend, really find that spine length. Make sure you're pushing away with the hands away into the mat strongly so that the shoulders are really engaged. And then as you're ready, pedal the heels, one and then the other. Continue lifting through the spine and long tailbone lifting, long spine, head is relaxed. Breathing, allowing those heels to slowly pedal down. You're gonna feel a little more tension probably in the Achilles tendon and the calf muscles and the hamstrings first thing in the morning versus later. Keep lifting the tailbone, couple more pedals, couple more breaths here. Good, and then we're going to just walk our feet up towards our hands, coming into a forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to and try to let go. Let the head go, let your chest rest on the knees and the thighs. Really, you can have them super bent if your hamstrings aren't long enough, but try to see if you can take a couple breaths with the head falling down towards the floor. Good. Let it go a little more. Then we're going to walk our hands up onto our thighs. Come to a halfway up position. Press your hands into the thighs and lift the heart up, extending into a flat back. Lift the heart and the throat. Shoulder blades back and down. Slowly come back down into forward fold. Let go again. Take a breath. And then one more time, walking up halfway, hands on the thighs or knees. Extend the tailbone out, chest and heart lift, throat lifts, flat back, shoulder blades back. Good, and then just curve into a C. Pull the belly button in like into Mad Cat. Curl the tailbone under and slowly roll up to standing. So reversing the curve and coming all the way up to standing. Nice work, everybody. All right, so in standing, we're gonna do a little bit of hip work. If you have a wall nearby, that's great, or if you wanna grab a chair, and you can have a chair for balance. We're going to do pretty much all the muscles that we usually do in side lying from standing. So finding your mountain pose first, nice and tall, tailbone kind of drops down a little bit more than we usually, people tend to stand like this. So pull the belly button in, drop the tailbone down, allow that low back to open up. Make sure your feet are wide as your hips, not together and not way out wide. And then relax the shoulders down and back. You can do a couple rolls if they're feeling tight after all of that weight bearing. Squeezing them around in circles and then just let them drop. Good. Pull the belly button in and we're going to weight bear on the right leg. So shift all your weight to the right without going way over ideally, and then unweight. So unweight here and just standing on only the right leg. You can use the wall for balance if you need. We're going to come back and forward and back and forward. Let me show from the side. So you can use the wall for balance. You're standing really tall on that right leg. Coming back, keeping your spine long and forward and back, squeezing the glute and forward, hip flexors used, back and forward. You don't have to straighten out the leg. You can keep the knee bent a little bit. Couple more, squeezing the glute back without arching the back. And forward. Good. One more, back, squeeze, and forward, and then replace that leg. And then standing on the other leg, left leg now. Find that tall mountain pose, tall through the top of the spine, all the weight on one leg without really shifting too far over. And then back, squeeze the glute and forward. So standing leg is using lots of abductors, that gluteus medius especially, to stabilize. And then we're using extensors and then flexors. We're trying to control our neutral spine with the core while we use our leg, similar to how we do when we're walking. So notice if you have any patterns in your body that when you do this, you have to extend or have to flex. I'm exaggerating, but sometimes people get caught where they're not able to move their leg without their low back coming along. That's really detrimental. So if you notice that, something to work on. Go ahead and replace that leg. Now we're going to do standing on one leg and out with the other leg. So again, you can have a chair, or if you're feeling totally zen and balanced today, you can do this without anything to hold on to. Go ahead and shift your weight onto the right leg again, tight tummy. And we're just gonna bring the leg out and slightly back, leading with the heel and together. Out, squeezing now, shortening those abductors and together. I'm gonna go sideways so you can see that I'm not coming straight out, I'm coming slightly back. I'm definitely not coming forward. If you come forward, you're gonna use your hip flexors. We wanna use these abductor muscles on the side of the leg. And the leg that you're standing on is working really hard too. Same muscles, so we're getting double work here. Good, couple more. Check in if you're breathing. And relax, switch legs. So tall first, make sure your feet are hip distance apart, all the weight on the left, and right leg comes out and back, out and back. See how much length you can keep through the spine, how much tension in the belly. See if you can keep your spine comfortable. Keep breathing. Good. Whenever you feel like you're about even, you've done about enough on that side, even to the other. Shake, shake, shake your booty out. Stretch it out a little bit. All right, we're going to do chair pose. If you prefer to actually sit, having a chair behind you and come into sitting in a chair, please grab a little chair and put it behind you on the mat. Otherwise, we're going to come same hip distance apart, and we're going to come down and up. So into chair pose, sitting back, 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 as if we're going to sit, let the arms come forward, and then press down through the whole foot, coming up to standing tall through the chest. And then sit back into chair pose, really pulling the hips back so the knees are over the ankles. Press through the whole foot, come all the way up and squeeze the glutes. Come on down. You can inhale as you come down here if you want, and exhale as you press through. Inhale as you come down. And see if you're being able to weight bear both legs evenly. Sometimes we use just one leg a little more, especially if you've had anything like a stroke or any kind of injury, then we tend to weight bear a little harder on the leg that was not affected. See if you can just level it out a little bit more, pushing through both legs evenly. Coming down, bringing that butt way back. See if you can come a little lower. We're gonna do several more, pressing through and lifting. Down and sitting back. Press through the heels all the way up and squeeze the glutes. We're gonna do 2 more and then we'll hold it for just a moment at the bottom. Pressing through, exhale up. Allow yourself to inhale down and pressing up. Now we're gonna come down and hold it for as long as you want. I will allow you to decide. Sit back. If you don't wanna come all the way back, you can just come here or come down as low as you want. Coming into your chair pose, lift the heart, lift the arms, wiggle your toes, make sure you're relaxed. Holding that position for a couple breaths. And whenever you're ready, pressing up. Beautiful job, everybody. All right, let's stretch it out a little bit. Put your feet wide. And we're going to inhale up and reach up overhead with that right arm. Up, up, up and over a little bit. And then straight up again. Inhale, lift, and over a little bit to the right. Again, up, 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 and down. Good. Now you're gonna put your hands on your hips and push kind of back at the butt so that you come into a little bit of a fold with your back flat and your chest still lifted. And we're just gonna go side to side with those wide legs. So back and then side to side. Good, stretching out through the inside of the thigh. Coming back to your breath. Nice. And then as you come across, see if you can lower the opposite shoulder a little bit. And then you're up and lower the shoulder. One more time. Very good, come all the way up. Okay, last thing we're going to do in standing is do a little bit of arm work. So if you have your, actually we're gonna do the ball too if you have a ball. If you have a wall nearby, come to your wall. You can either bring your mat or not. We're just gonna do 10 push-ups on the wall to make sure we got our arms well this morning. If you don't have a wall, you probably do, but if you don't, you could kneel on the mat and you could do it on the mat instead. If you're on a wall, you're gonna put your hands right in front of you, shoulder height, and we're going to put our feet back as far as you want. The further back you go, the harder it'll be for the arms. The closer to the wall you are, the easier. So as far back as you want, pull your belly button in to protect the spine. Lengthen through the top of the head up. And we're gonna keep the chest and heart really open as we bend the elbows, allowing them to come out to the side, bringing the heart to the wall without diving our nose towards it. Keep the tummy tight, chest open as you press away. Go ahead and inhale as you come toward the wall, really letting the chest come towards the wall, not moving the head and neck like a chicken. Good, as you come in, exhaling as you press out. Inhaling as you come in. Heart is really open, tummy's tight, no strain in the back. Exhale, press out. So this is actually working core, posture, alignment, arms, heart opening, all the things. Super important that you don't dive your nose into the wall. Should I say that again? Good. Few more. Good, whenever you're ready, let those arms drop. Center yourself again. We're just gonna reach the left arm up overhead, right arm back, and see if you can reach toward those fingertips. If you can, grab hold of the fingertips and pull a little bit of a tricep stretch. If you can't, you might just be here, stretch this arm overhead and kind of reach energetically fingertips towards each other. Depends on how much motion you have of your shoulders. Take a breath, settle, settle, settle. And then reach that arm up overhead, drop it down and switch other arm up. Reaching up and then folding so that the tricep gets a little stretch. Now reaching up the low back with the other arm. If you can grab hold of fingertips. If we wanted, we could use the strap here. Holding the strap with both hands so that that gives you a little bit extra length and ability to stretch. Good, and release the arms. Nice. Okay, if you have a ball, grab it. I almost forgot the ball. If you don't have a ball, we can still do some movement through the foot. So if you do have a ball, I'll get you started, and you're going to just find your standing balance, kind of same mountain pose. You can use the wall if you need, or a chair for balance, however you want to be. You're going to put the ball right underneath the space where the big toe comes into the foot. So the ball of that big toe. And then you're going to roll it back with as much pressure as feels good towards the heel. Come just up and onto the heel and then slide it back towards the big toe, coming just a little bit laterally up onto the ball of the foot again and back. And each time, go a little more lateral with the ball, working towards the pinky little toe. Okay, so keep going on that. If you don't have a ball, then you can work your foot in circles. So you can stand on one leg and work your foot around the ball and then back towards the heel, each direction. So working around the ball of the foot, still getting a little bit of movement through those metatarsals. And then all together, we will stretch the top of the foot. If you have a ball, find a spot in the arch that feels a bit tender and see if you can just breathe into it for a couple breaths, letting the pressure of the foot go over the ball, just allowing it to open. So take a deep breath and just release, letting it go, letting it open. Usually, if you have what we call a trigger point or a really tender spot that's kind of radiating, usually if you hold it with pressure on it for about a minute, sometimes a tiny bit longer, it will release. So if you have one of those, you might play with the ball and see if you can release that spot with just holding the pressure, bringing the breath to the spot, maybe closing your eyes, imagining kind of a light opening, releasing in that area. And as a practitioner, what we feel is when it releases, it just feels like butter, like it melts. It just goes, and then at that same time, the person who has the trigger point says, oh, it doesn't hurt anymore. So it really does let go. It's a nice trick. You can use that. Go ahead and switch feet with the ball, or if you don't have a ball, go ahead and do circles with the other foot. Rolling the ball from the ball of the foot back towards the heel. I just said ball way too many times. Working out that other foot now. What I was going to say is you can use this, a tennis ball or a any kind of ball, really, a little pinky bounce ball or anything. You can use it in places of your hip too, if you have like a external rotator, especially kind of piriformis is a naughty muscle. Every once in a while it gets really bound up. You can put it in the hip and kind of roll onto it with pressure there, and you can do the same release. You can do it all over the body on the back and everywhere. So, all right, again, on this other foot, Find a spot and breathe into it. Let your foot release. Good. Make sure you're standing tall on that standing leg. A little bit of engagement on the belly still. Soon we will release it all. Good. All right. Release the ball. Push it out of the way. And then we're just going to stretch out the top of the foot, and then we'll go down to the mat. So toes released and kind of softly set onto the mat. The top of the foot is sensitive, so don't jam the toes down. Just kind of gently set them. Stand up really tall and extend the knee, and just feel what that does to the top of the foot and the shin area. And then release the knee into a little bit of a bend. And you might walk the foot back a little bit more. And then press it straight again. You can roll the foot a little bit across the top. So medial to lateral, out and in with the knee as you're stretching it back there. Stretching across the top of the foot. Good. Extend the knee a little more, one more time, and release, switch legs. Other leg back, gently set the toes. If you have trouble with cramping in the toes, just set them down. Don't curl them, don't activate anything in the foot. See if you can just stretch it out. Stretching the knee straight, feel it comfortably stretching, invitation to open, not stressing and forcing it. And bend the knee, move the foot back a little if you want, extend the knee again. You might notice one leg is tighter than the other. We notice that a lot. One side is different than the other. That's okay, just noticing, working towards better balance, better alignment, better equality. Good, last time straightening and then just kind of rolling across it, medial to lateral. Good. And release. Nice work. Okay, my friends, we're going to lay down on our backs. Our meditation today will not be super, super long. We're going to do a quick stretch before we get there. So lay down on your back. Grab that strap if you have it. And we're going to quickly stretch out the hamstring and then our figure 4 stretch on each side. And then we'll come to our meditation in about 2 minutes. So if you have your strap, go ahead and hook it around the arch of your foot and wrap the strap around the hands so that you're not working super hard to grip it and hold on to it. It's just kind of doing its own work. And then lift the leg up until you feel a comfortable stretch on the hamstring. And just try to relax the leg, let it go. Don't make it stress and hold on hard here. If you do not have a strap, grab hold behind your thigh and extend your knee up until you feel a good stretch. It might be out here. You could also kind of grab your pants. It's kind of awkward, but you can try it. You could also use a towel or a roll of blanket or sheet as your strap. If you don't have one, that's totally okay. You don't need one. You can use lots of other household items. Breathing into the back of the leg, stretching it up a little bit more. If you want, you can use that active pushing down with the heel, activating the hamstring, pushing down, down, down for about 6 seconds, and then release it and take up the slack. If you're tight, that really helps to release things. Pushing down and release. Nice. Okay, go ahead and bend that knee, switch the strap into the other leg. Stretch out long on the mat, the leg you just stretched, and stretch the other hamstring. Bring the leg up. Again, stretching should be comfortable and feel beautiful to your body. It should feel like relaxation, releasing, letting go. It should never feel like something that your body is fighting or resisting. If so, just back off a little bit. Use the breath to open Try to invite the opening instead of forcing it. And if you have a lot of tension in your body, Calm Mix can help you. Good. Using that resist down and 6-second hold and relax. If you're feeling tight, take up the slack. That helps open things up. Good. One more breath and then bend the knee, release the strap, set it aside. And we're just going to do our figure 4 stretch. So coming into 2 legs bent, cross over 1 ankle, reach behind the thigh, and coming up into a stretch. Breathe deeply into the hip that is stretching. Make sure that you're not shrugging your shoulders. Bend your elbows to bring these knees up. Breathing into the belly. Try to let go. A little bit up further towards the chest. You can rock back and forth a little if that feels good to you. Good, and then just stretch both legs up overhead and fold the other way. Grabbing behind the thigh, never grabbing the shin because that puts the knee in too much of a bent position and it's not comfortable or good for the knee. Inhale deeply into the belly and just bring those knees up towards the chest wherever it feels good. The crossed over hip is getting a beautiful stretch deep in the hip. Make sure your shoulders are not shrugging. Nice. Very good. Okay, release that leg down and just come into a comfortable, relaxed on your back position. Let the legs fall away from each other. We will only do a brief meditation today because we're running short on time, but hopefully the last few things felt meditative. Go ahead and let the arms rest away from the body, palms facing up, and just check in with your body. See what the energy feels like here now. Breathing deeply into the belly. See how much easier it is after all of that practice to just really use your diaphragm and do your belly breathing. Notice your shoulders relax. See if you can let them go a little bit more down into the mat. Allow that heart to be open, the chest space to be open. Check in with your low back. Make sure it feels supported. If you feel an area that is tense or something that you are naming pain, bring a couple of breaths to the area. Envision the breath coming to the area and just healing it. Bringing light and breath all around the area that feels tense or that you're naming pain. And just allow it to release. You can do this with a headache or backache or anything. Trust the breath and trust your highest power, your beautiful healing energy to just come and release the grip. Take a deep breath all the way down to your toes and envision all the energy in the whole body. Feel the buzzing of the energy that you have created through movement and stretching and activation. Try to take a mental picture of the beautiful buzzing energy that's in your body right now. See if you can carry that with you. Allow your breath to keep you rising up. Allow your breath to keep you tall, open-hearted, strong through the core, strong through the back, beautifully grounded as you walk through the world. Take a mental picture here on your mat of the good alignment that you have and that you've been working on, so that when you come up, you can maintain that lift, feeling lifted against gravity, held up, never smashed down, never pushed down into a smaller version of yourself, but always rising up and lifting and opening. You are all beautiful, my friends. Bring your hands to your hearts, please. Give yourself another sense of gratitude for this beautiful time and this beautiful body and the strength and energy of you. I am incredibly grateful for all of you, and thank you. Bend your knees, come over onto your side when you're ready, and we'll press up into seated. Ready for our day and our week. Whenever you're ready, coming up to seated, find your sit bones. See if you feel long and lifted. And namaste. Blessings. And I hope that you have a beautiful week. I will be sending you all love. Take care.
Thank you, Robin.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.